Good morning. Good morning. Happy Saturday to everyone. Welcome to Candid Conversations with Kay and Kay. Glad you joined us this morning. I am Kim Coleman, aka Sister Girl Speaks, and right next to me is my podcasting sister, Kay Renee of Karen's Nuggets. Good morning, Karen.
Good morning, Kim, and good morning to our viewing audience on this Saturday, the third Saturday in February, as we're still honoring Black History Month. But let's not forget, y'all, Black history is celebrated each and every day in each and every way. And we're gonna kind of give you a good tidbit on someone you should know in Black history if you don't know. So
Mm-hmm.
stay tuned for that.
So happy Black History Month, everyone! 28 days of the month, where we celebrate the accomplishments of not only those who have come before us, but those who are here now. People are striving and doing some amazing things around the globe. Kamala Harris was just. I think I forgot where she was this morning, but just to see her on the world stage,
Yes.
making a case. So she's making history. The UN ambassador, I believe, is an African American woman. I've seen her on some of the Sunday shows and some of the other shows. So we're making Black history all year round. And we want to give a special shout out to, is it Erin Jackson?
Yes,
Yes,
woohoo! Miss
yes,
Erin
Erin
Jackson is the
Jackson.
first
Um,
African American woman to get gold, y'all. Not silver, not bronze, even though that's good, but she got gold for speed skating. And I
mhm,
love the
mhm.
commercial. I don't know if you've seen it, but the
I've seen like
commercial
parts of
of
it.
one of a young black girl seeing a black woman win the Olympics, and then she does the same thing. So
Right, right, right.
kudos
Kudos to her.
to another Miss Jackson. If you're great, not the opposite.
Well, what I did see was Oprah and Gail are evidently on vacation,
Really?
and they made a video for her. They put it up. She put it up on Twitter. I think she was at CBS this morning, and
Okay.
Gail happens to be on vacation. And Oprah and Gail did a special video congratulating her and saying that they both can't wait to meet her. So kudos to her. We know that there's a lot of controversy going on at the Olympics. We may talk about that a little bit later, but kudos to all of those athletes. Some of them are under immense pressure.
They
That's why
are.
they're thinking of changing the ages of some of the people that compete. And it's just a lot. I mean, they're away from their families. They don't have the cheering section that normally we've seen in past Olympics, and they've been training for this all of their lives. So we send a special shout out to them. Prayers that they stay safe, that they do well, and regardless of if you get gold, silver, or bronze, you're still a winner because you made it there. You're still a
Amen
winner.
to that. Amen to that.
I'm going to give a special shout out to my aunt Davinia, who is in Pine Bluff, Arkansas. She will be 81 next week after next, but she didn't like me drinking from my water bottle. So this is for her.
You know, it's Kim, it's funny you say that. No. Because, see, obviously, great minds think alike. Because I have a childhood friend. As you know, I'm also guest co host with our Grand Poobah Big Brother Art Chat Daddy
Mhm.
Sims. And one of my childhood friends called me up. She said, "Listen, I know you don't like to hear nothing I got to say, but I'm going to say it. Stop drinking whatever you drink in that bottle and use a cup. So to eat to if you're listening to Yvette McReynolds, this is for you too."
This is for Aunt Davinia. So there is that. We had a few transitions this week. Did you want to note who those were?
Yes. The first transition was, you may not know his name, but you know movies like Stripes,
Oh yeah.
Animal House, Kindergarten Cop. But the most popular, what I love, was Ghostbusters.
Mhm.
Ivan Reitman,
Mhm.
who is a
Mhm.
major Hollywood producer, director. I'm sure he's written some screenplays. He had passed really after we got off the air on the 12th
Right.
of age
Right.
75. And
Right.
interestingly enough, his son, They collaborated together to do Ghostbusters 2.
Ghostbusters too.
And the nice part, which I liked, I saw them together, and it was like the torch was passing on to the next
Hmm.
generation. So,
Hmm.
uh, prayers go out to his family and fans. Who Ivan, who made his transition at 75, but more importantly, it's close to us. Let's keep
Yeah,
it
yeah,
real. You know,
yeah.
we were talking about in a previous show about our auntie Maya Angelou, Dr. Maya Angelou. Let me give her
Hmm.
props. Who is going to be on the face of a quarter? Well,
Hmm.
her son
Guy, yeah.
suddenly had passed on, Guy Johnson, earlier this week at the age of
Hmm.
77.
77, yeah.
And you know, you had broke that news to me, um, and then of course it started to matriculate down with the news media that he had passed away. I didn't realize how old he was because he looked
Hmm.
good to be
Hmm.
77.
Hmm.
Didn't know his backstory that he had a child that he had to fight for.
Hmm.
Uh, but, you know, the relationship and the love that he had for his mother, make no mistake. He loved
Yeah,
some Dr. Maya, and Dr. Maya loved her
yeah,
baby. So
yeah.
now that they're together, and so I don't know. Have they reported the cause of death for
No,
Mr. Johnson?
no,
Okay,
mm-mm, mm-mm.
but
Not to
uh,
my knowledge.
but you know he was a novelist in his own right, and I think he was in the arts as well. Kim, am I not
Okay,
mistaken?
I think he was a poet and a
Okay,
playwright, if I'm not mistaken. I
okay,
think I saw him once in person with her when I saw
wow,
her at one of the libraries in Chicago.
okay,
You know, I've seen Maya Angelou several times in person, and my
mm-hmm.
favorite Maya Angelou story. I don't know what book she had written; it was a poetry book or whatever. And Maya Angelou had a way of always complimenting people when she saw them. At least she did with
Oh,
me. And she
aw,
told me, she said, you know, she would tell you have a beautiful smile. And I
aw.
said, well, that's good, Miss Angelo, because mommy and daddy paid a lot of money for it. And she thought that was so funny.
Aw.
She said, oh, that is too funny. And
Oh
so
wow.
that's my favorite Maya Angelou story. Did you have any others?
No, I mean, I think that, of course, there have probably been some more that we may not be aware of, but those two kind of stick out.
Hmm.
So, to those who've lost loved ones this week, due to whatever circumstance, we are praying for you, but also know that your beloved is now your guardian angel. So,
Yep,
you can
yep.
just look to him or her and know that whenever you walk down the street, they're with you. I mean, you
Yeah.
know, I say this to everyone, and people, when they see me who've known my parents, my grandmother, they're like, wow, wow, you look so much like your mom, or I can tell that you are definitely James Mason's daughter. I was like, that's right. So, and then, you know, for me, my Nana, who would have celebrated her 108th Earth Day, I have to give her
Okay.
praise. Mrs.
Okay.
Naomi Ridgway Washington Hudson. Yes, she married twice. And, and I don't know if you saw, because I every time I look at that photo, it's like, this is the way I'm going to look when I get to her age. And
I did see it.
she was just a quiet individual, but you piss her off. But
She
the
was
one thing that
something.
she did, and was very true, is she passed down the recipe to my mother,
Sweet
that
potato
passed
pie.
down the recipe to yours truly, and that's sweet potato pie. Because she was a
Okay.
baker, she worked in a bakery, and you know, because she made egg custard. I never
Oh
got that
wow.
recipe because I didn't like egg, but it was good, but it wasn't
Okay.
my
Okay.
favorite. But
Okay.
sweet potato pie, that was it.
That was
So
it.
I love you, Mama Naomi. Thank you so much for coming this way. And you know, it's just the cycle of life will always continue. So
Keep
again, our
going.
prayers go out to those who've lost loved ones, not only this week, this year, during this pandemic. You know, it's, even though we're going to talk about the pandemic a little bit,
Hmm.
even though it seems like it's dwindling, even though I question the number of hospitalizations decrease and people in ICU, but the death rate seems to increase. I don't understand that
We'll talk about
parallel.
that in a minute. There's two things that I want to bring up before we do that. The
Yeah.
first one is we at my church we lost a very valued member of our church. Miss Gladys Grundy. She was 104. She was
Wow.
from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Her cousin Calvin brought her up here to Oklahoma to be to take care of her.
Mm-hmm.
And brother Calvin, who was our finance person, took care of her. She always looked good, always had on a beret hat, had a smile for you, always dressed very nicely. And she would sit in the corner because Calvin had to count the money while he was counting money and everything and play the search word puzzles. She always had that book of search word puzzles. So
Okay.
I just want to give a shout out to Sister Gladys, who lived on this earth for 104 years. And I didn't get a chance to see her for a long time because of the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
So I hadn't seen her in over a year and a half. But she'll be laid to rest this Friday in her home, in her hometown of Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Now
So
you know that I wanted to ask the question: was she was around during Black Wall Street?
yeah, when but she didn't talk at the end of her life. She
Oh
wasn't
wow.
you couldn't understand a lot of what she was saying. She
Okay.
was alert and she knew what was going on,
Okay.
but her speech was not. I don't know if she'd had a stroke or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but she
Okay.
probably could have told stories.
I
And if there's
bet.
something in her obituary about that, I will be sure to get that.
Please do.
I will be sure to get that.
Please
Also,
do.
want to give a shout out to the Gen Xers out there. Kay knows that we both will be turning 55 this year, but 55 for being in your 50s never looks so good. And the proof
Hello.
of that was at the Super Bowl this past halftime
Hello.
with Dr. Dre, Eminem, Kendrick was the youngster,
50
Miss
Cent
Mary J.
and 50
Blige,
Cent. A dollar.
and
He a dollar
50
twenty
Cent.
five now, but he was 50
Yeah,
Cent.
but he still
Okay.
looks good though.
Yes, he
And
does.
Snoop Dogg, who crip walked his way
Okay.
uh, through the whole performance. But I have to say, the top three Super Bowls for me are this one, Michael Jackson. I still got to go back and look at that Diana Ross one. Michael Jackson, this one, and Prince. You cannot beat Prince in the rain singing
Thank you.
Purple Rain.
Thank
It
you.
was as if God was like, ah,
Ding.
and I watch that at least twice a year. It is
Okay.
with the wind coming, and then he puts up that sheet, and he looks
Mm-hmm.
8 feet tall.
Right.
But anyway, kudos to we are hip hop. We are hip hop. That is
Yes.
our generation's music.
That's
And
right.
I remember when Sugar Hill Gang came out. And
Mm-hmm.
all of that, and going through. As Biggie say, you never thought that hip hop would make it this far. And I certainly didn't. I remember my mother saying, what's this crazy stuff y'all listening to with these people talking? I'm like, Ma, this is rap music. She was like, oh, Lord. But we still here. We still representing. And it was a professional show. It was just, you could tell. And shout out to Fatima Robinson, who you all have seen
Oh
her directing
yes.
many. She directed She choreographed Dream Girls.
Mm-hmm.
She's choreographed videos. She was supposed to be on that plane with Aaliyah and the crew.
That's
She was on that
right.
island, and she didn't go for some reason.
That
But
was
all of
God.
her friends died. And so Fatima had God had a purpose and she's using it. And if you want to see the practices of how she forms, the Kendrick Lamar scene and the Mary J, go on Fatima Robinson's Instagram to watch how it somehow came together. And then when it's over, she has a little drink or whatever, because she probably had a drink in a few months. So I just want to give a shout out to the hip hop nation, all the Gen X's out there, you Gen Zs, and Y, y'all got to catch up.
And my podcasting sister has spoken.
I was just so proud,
Oh
and
no, no!
I'm not a big
I
Drake
was
fan.
truly. Well, here's the thing. Now you know you the bad. When a couple days later, a certain billionaire named Tyler Perry mimicked excuse me, Medea J. Blige. I thought that was like, okay, Tyler.
He is so
I just
crazy.
crazy as I don't know what, but hey, it worked, and even
It
I'm sure
worked,
Mary got a little chuckle. But think
of
about
course.
this. at 50, 51, she rocked it like nobody's business. And so, like you said, it was what I loved about it was the precision, because it reminded me of Janet Jackson's video Rhythm Nation, how they would just came together. So,
They
and to do all
practiced
that
a
in
lot.
under what, 50, what, 30
12, I think that's
minutes?
12 minutes.
Thank you.
The
That
Super
takes a
Bowl,
lot.
yeah, it's a lot. And also, a shout out to Andrew Pack, who was on the drums, who looked like he was having the time of his life. He is a part of the Silky Soul group with who's Bruno Mars. So
Okay.
he was just having a ball. I mean, so I just want to give a shout out to that crew. Just that's my generation, and I also want to say this. Maybe I should say this later on. Many people are going through some hard times right now, and you feel as if this is the end, that it can't get no worse, and I don't have anything to look forward to. Mary J. Blige is she is the epitome of the comeback kid. And her ex-husband left her, took her money, cheated on her. She didn't have any money, and she had to pay him alimony, which that's a whole nother show. But
Hello.
instead of crawling under a rock, which many of us would choose to do, Mary got back up, got out there and worked, ended up getting not one, but two Academy Award nominations, more Grammys. She has a song out now called Good Morning Gorgeous, I think
Oh,
it
I
is. I
love
was
it.
listening to it.
Love
So
it.
you can come back for whatever you're going through. And Miss Mary J. Blige, who that's my girl. I bought that in my life. Lost the cassette, lost the CD, had to buy it again a few times at that Rose Records. Was it Rose Records?
Rose Records downtown on State. I think it's State and
Yes.
Lake. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to go there and buy my little cassette tapes and then my CDs after work on payday. So shout out to Mary J. Blige. She is a living testament that you can make it. You no matter what life throws at you, keep going. So
That's
I just
right.
had to say that during Black History Month, because we come from people that keep going,
That's right.
keep going. We came over here with nothing, nothing, and we have made it. We're still striving. So I
That's
just want to
right.
say that. So shout out to everybody who's looking at us. I can't see right now, but shout out to we have an audience of about 4 or 5 people, so that's pretty good. So shout out to that.
Yes.
What would we like to talk about next? Hot
Well,
topics.
locally here in Chicago, which I was like shocked as I don't know what, but our mayor, our first black female mayor, Lori Lightfoot,
Yeah.
had was stalked at her house. And the thing about it, this fool had the nerve to pull a gun. That see is bad. Now, whatever your politics are, don't bring that stuff to the house. And she actually gave an exclusive interview with ABC affiliate earlier in the week and said how terrified, which I would be too. It's bad enough that you may not like Lori Lightfoot. I respect Lori because it takes a lot
Mm-hmm.
to do what she does. Let's be
Mm-hmm.
clear. But even she said, you could see the emotion in her voice when she was speaking to the reporter, that you don't bring this home to my child,
Right. I
not
was
to
I was
my
going to ask you if
wife.
she had a child.
Yeah, she has. Her and
Yeah,
her wife have a daughter. She's like, you
okay.
don't bring this to my child. And even with the security detail, they arrested his butt. But and even though when he had a gun, he had a legal right to carry it. But you don't have a legal right to point at nobody, especially at a government official like Mayor Lightfoot. So I give. Let's just give kudos to her detail, and hopefully he will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. Because you
I'm just
can't be.
glad that she and her wife and son are safe.
Her daughter is her
Her
daughter.
daughter, I'm sorry, her daughter are safe. That's
Because
good.
I don't know. Thankfully, I can't. I won't speak for you, Kim. But I have not been stalked. I don't want to be stalked. Let's keep that clear. Um, but, but it takes so much out of you when you go through that experience. And then, because I correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was reported on Good Morning America about this young girl who was a TikTok sensation, one of her followers stalked her, came to their Florida home, and the father, who was a former lieutenant, shot his butt. So this is the consequence that you have. If you go stalk somebody, you hey, don't do it because you may lose your life. So, but again,
Crazy.
I'm glad to know that Lori Life, our mayor, is safe.
Yes, yes, yes. Um, Yesterday, a gentleman who is connected to Jeffrey Epstein
Mm,
killed himself. So
really,
they say. His
really.
name, he was an associate of Jeffrey Epstein. Um, he was a modeling agent who was close to Jeffrey Epstein, was found dead in his French jail cell. His name was John Luc Brunel. Now, this is Jeffrey Epstein supposedly killed himself.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this man killed himself too.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, y'all. Come on. Stop doing this. That man didn't. I don't think Jeffrey Epstein killed himself. When I saw that, I was like, come on. I'm surprised that other lady that's on trial is still alive. She must not know as much as everybody else.
Who his cohort
Yeah, can't think of her name. Carol something, isn't it?
Ghislaine, whatever her name is.
I can't remember her
Ghislaine
name.
Maxwell. I think
But
that's her name.
now, if
Ghislaine.
they found her dead,
You
find
know
her
what's
dead.
up. You know what's up. That's exactly
I
right.
mean, so I
And
know
and you
Prince
know,
Andrew.
speaking of Jeffrey Epstein,
That's why I brought it up.
there's another little link because it seemed like this week Queen Elizabeth can't catch a break. She 95, y'all. She just celebrated her platinum jubilee, and she's like, "Look, I'm just trying to run the country of Britain and the United Kingdom, and my sons. What you gotta have the question: what the A, what the H, and what the F. So let me talk about Prince Andrew, who was connected to Jeffrey Epstein to a certain way. Apparently, he settled a sexual lawsuit with his accuser, Virginia I can't pronounce her last name.
Hmm.
So all this time he kept saying, "Oh, it was consensual. She didn't know what she was talking about." So why would you settle? Why would you settle
Yeah,
if you
yeah,
know that you didn't do anything wrong? Why would
right.
you settle?
Well, it's evident that whole thing. I don't think we'll ever know the whole story of that.
Mm-mm.
And the reason we won't because there are some high profile people that are involved in this.
Of
Even
course.
one ex president. Um, no, sorry, two.
I think I know the two that you're referring to.
So
One and they're both on different parties, but I know who you're talking about. Yes.
so I don't know if we'll ever know the whole story of
We
this.
probably will never know.
I don't know. And I don't even know if I want to know. But I hope these young women, I heard something on NPR interviews with a few of these women. I hope that these women get some clarity. I want the clarity for them. I want the clarity for them.
Yes. And
Um, Go ahead.
no, and just after that was announced, one day later, the London Metropolitan Police Service has opened a probe against the other son, Prince Charles. You're like, okay, what the hell happened, right? Well, it appears uh, that a longtime aide to Prince Charles helped to secure the prince's support for a Saudi citizen. Apparently, he's been dipping in the charity donation pool, which is,
Well,
a no no. So it's just like, okay, what is going on here? One can't keep it in his pants. The
oh
other
God.
one can't keep money to save his life or to be able to spend the money as he's supposed to spend it. And Queen Elizabeth's like, I'm 95 years old, god dog it. Y'all should know. See, if Queen Elizabeth was black,
Oh
she'd
yeah.
come to her boys and say, God damn it. What is.
I think she's already done that.
Well,
Shout out
I don't
to
know
my
if she did
brother.
or not, because if she did, now you, even though we're not mothers of children of boys, but we've been around women who have boys, and
Right, 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 right.
we know that they're gonna have a talk and say, listen. Don't
Get it
embarrass
together.
me.
Well,
Get
if
it
you watch
together.
the Queen, and shout out to my brother Reverend Coleman who's watching. If you watch the Queen, she does do that
Oh, I'm sure she
in a, in
does.
a in a different kind of way, but she does do that. So, you know, I,
Let's
the
just
royals are.
I pray for you, Queen Elizabeth, because you've been through a lot. I've been reading in your story, and brothers, get it together.
I want to give a shout out. I don't know if this is the right term to use, but just say a prayer. My thoughts and prayers are with the family of Dante Wright.
Yes.
Yesterday, the judge sentenced the, it's a shame. I called my brother to tell him about the killing. And I said, that black boy that was killed by the police. And my brother goes, which one? And I
Oh,
said,
see, that's
that's,
sad. That's bad.
yeah. And I
Sad and
saw that,
bad.
and I saw that online because people were like, now, which one is this? And they did a parody of that on Blackish, by the way, a few seasons ago. But Dante Wright was killed by police officer Kim Porter. She
Mm-hmm.
said it was a taser and it was a gun.
Right.
And he was stopped for a misdemeanor, having one of those deodorant things in his mirror. She was
Mm-hmm.
training another officer. She had been a police officer for 26 years. I
Yes.
listened to the verdict yesterday, and as the judge was giving the verdict, I thought she was going to let her go. I really thought she was going to let her go, the way she was framing everything.
Right. I saw
So,
that.
um, you know, 2 years and $1,000 for killing someone. Now, I know it was a mistake. I don't believe that Kim Porter did that intentionally. But
I
let me
agree with
say
that.
this. But let me say this. There are repercussions for even mistakes.
I agree with
Believe
that
me,
as
I
well.
paid for a few. If I miss paying my electric bill and I don't have the money because I spent it on clothes at Ashley Stewart, I can't call the light company and go, y'all made a mistake. No, they'll be like, okay, well, your mistake is when you get paid again, you pay it. Until then, you'll be in the dark. I'm not comparing, but you understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Even though we make mistakes, there's still repercussions from mistakes.
Absolutely.
And I think the minimum that they had recommended was 7 years or something like that. And I just feel for, you people wonder why we kneel. People wonder why we say Black Lives Matter. People wonder why we march and we protest and we want the history of our people taught in schools. It's because of this, because we are still not valued in this country.
That's right.
We are still not valued in this country. I tell everybody, I was not really for reparations, even after that big argument that Ta-Nehisi Coates and all of them did before Congress a couple years ago. But after Breonna Taylor and after her sentencing, I was like, really? That's what you all think of us? A woman was sleeping in her bed, minding her own
Own
business.
business
Cops
and
came in and shot her, and nobody is held to that. What you got for repercussions,
right.
reparations? What you
Reparations.
got?
Same
Because
thing what happened in Minnesota
right,
again with Amir Locke, who
right,
there
right,
was a no knock warrant. This man was sleeping, and he had a registered legal weapon. The police just took it, went crazy, and shot him dead. It's bad and it's sad and it makes me mad when when your brother made a perfect point. Anytime we hear about a black person being killed by the police, we like, which one?
right, right,
That should never come out of anyone's mouth at
right,
all.
right.
But it
It's
keeps
just
continuing
yeah,
because you would think
yes,
after George Floyd, people would have got the hint. No,
no, and that was in Minneapolis as well
exactly.
yesterday, and Amar and
Amir
sending
Locke.
thoughts and prayers to Amir Lott's family who buried him yesterday. Al Sharpton did the eulogy for that one. Okay, any other hot topics that we want to talk about?
Well, I mean, we're gonna go to this Olympics with even though we start off with Aaron Jackson, Miss Jackson, if you're great, but then we got to talk about the other side of the Olympics because I think there's a double standard. There always been a double standard, and there may be a continued double standard. Now, We all remember Sha'Carri Richardson, who to me is one of the fastest women next to FloJo. You know, she reminds you of Florence Griffith Jr.
Mhm.
And we all know the story that she was suspended because she used marijuana. And the reason why she used marijuana was what, Kim? Because she just lost her mother. And you know, when you've lost someone, let's be clear and let's be real. You may not be thinking clearly like you should. So, but then this Russian ice skater, underage, she's been using heart medication and it was banned. They first suspended her, then they let her compete. Wait, let me back that up. They suspended her originally, then they let her compete.
So
What
this
kind
is
of
what I'm
mess
going to
is
say.
that?
This is what I'm going to say about that. For
Shikari.
Shikari, that was done by the American Olympic Committee, if there is such a thing.
Mm-hmm.
That other decision was made
By the
by
International Olympic
by the
Committee.
International Committee.
Mm-hmm.
So it's two different committees making the decision. Now, Shikari,
Yes.
I understand she lost her mother. I get it. I
Mm-hmm.
do. I know because I was in a room the other day and somebody shut somebody else down because they had never lost a parent. And this
Mm-hmm.
girl was like, "You never lost a parent. You know, okay." I'm not saying I haven't lost a parent, but I understand that she was under Shikari. But you know the rules. And here's the thing, especially with us. What's the speech that we all get before we go out
You
in the
got to
world?
be 10 times as better than everybody else. It's
Don't
unfortunate. That's that unwritten rule, but it's the rule. Period.
now. If it wasn't in the rule book, if it wasn't a part of the thing, she's been an athlete for a long time. I'm assuming,
She
and you
has.
and you know the rules. And if you can't play by the rules, especially us, then don't get in the game. Something's going to have to be done about these young athletes. I think Russia is talking about upping the age to these athletes and when they compete. There's some controversy about the dancing competition. They're not going to have, because they don't know if they're going to let one of the couples be gold or silver. So the American couple that was in silver, they got an empty medal box and they're going to go home and not have a ceremony on the pedestal because there's some controversy about that. It's just this Olympics, with the exception of Aaron, first of all, it's in was it in Beijing, and they got
Yes.
their own issues with the way they handle their population, the people over there. A lot of people in America, online on Twitter have been protesting because of the practices of the government there. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I haven't watched them. I watched the replay of Aaron winning. There needs to be some changes. And that young lady that cried the other day, she felt like she was under such, I think she was 13 or something.
Mm-hmm.
She was under such pressure. She fell like two or three times. And it was just very disturbing. Anything else?
Well, there's a topic that you were just on hot with. And I understand it because I'm not Catholic, but you are hot like nobody else. So let's get to it, Kim. You about this Catholic
So,
priest.
so a Catholic priest resigned this week because for years he had been um, baptizing people and saying, "We baptize you instead of I baptize you." And so the Catholic Church are saying those baptisms are null and void. Now, I have a lot of problems with the Catholic Church. Lots of problems. A few years ago, Um, they said that if you came to the Catholic Church and you were not a Catholic and communion was being offered, that they would not let you take communion. I don't know if that's still an issue. But let me tell you a little story about that. Speaking of Minneapolis, I had to go on a business trip years ago. This is before I left Chicago, right? A year before I left Chicago, with a coworker of mine in Minneapolis. And she was very, very religious. And it was around the time this, it was like the same week this story came out about you had to be Catholic in order to take communion. So she was an older lady, probably my age, which is the age I am now. But one of those people that didn't like to go anywhere by herself. And we went around this time because it was Ash Wednesday, which is this coming up Wednesday. So it's
Mm-hmm.
around the time. So she goes, "Will you go to church with me? I have to go to church on Ash Wednesday." I said, "Okay, fine." So they offer communion. Check this out. I was the only black person in the congregation. So it was obvious that I was not a member of that congregation. So when I found out, I had forgotten that every ceremony that Catholics do, they give out communion. And I said to myself, they better not, they better not deny me communion.
Did they?
Or I will raise holy hell up in this church.
Did they?
No, they gave it to me. They gave it to me. But see, here's the thing. The Catholic Church has been losing people for years because of this legalism stuff that is nowhere in the Bible. That is nowhere in the Bible. Confession is not in the Bible. The whole thing that you could be excommunicated. That's not in the Bible. I've read the Bible. I'm not a holy, I don't know it verbatim, but I do know what I have and have not read. Excommunication. If you get divorced in the Catholic Church and do not get an annul, you cannot get remarried in the Catholic Church. Are you bringing people closer to God or further away? See, when Jesus left here, the great manifestation said, "Go ye therefore and teach all nations about me." Meaning, Jesus wanted us to bring people to the church, to him, not away. And you got I and we. So do you really think that when a person gets to heaven, that God's gonna say, you was baptized by that one priest? No, you can come up in here. Really? I wouldn't serve a God so petty. And my God is not petty. He is a welcoming God, no matter what your sexual persuasion is, although some people not want to hear that. If you're a homosexual, lesbian, or gay, he is what is it? What is the term? He is not a respecter of person. Is that the term?
That's the
My brother's
term.
going to correct me.
That's the
If
term.
you are black, white, he is not petty like we are.
Or polka dot.
Right. He is not petty.
As my first spiritual mom would have said. And by as I mentioned earlier when we first started talking about this, I went to a Catholic grammar school. And I'm gonna tell you, they did not practice that. They if you wanted to take communion, you could take communion. The reason why my mom cited what I wanted to just, because I wanted to go to Catholic high school. She was like,
Mm-hmm.
"You're not doing that." They were. She was like, "No, we're not doing that because you going. I know where you going to high school." And I'm glad she did that, made that decision. But they really was trying to get her to convert to Catholicism, and she had her own belief of spirituality. In fact, as I mentioned, my first spiritual mom, I would be remiss if I did not say happy heavenly birthday to the
Mm-hmm.
Reverend Dr. Johnny Coleman. She is the first African American female minister of New Thought. This is what I have been indoctrinated since I was aged 8. So to those who are members of her organization, and we are wide and we are deep, but we all give it, in Black History, definitely to my first spiritual mom, the Reverend Dr. Johnny Coleman. But this is what my mom kind of followed. And so my mom, and they would really, they would like almost force her. And she's like, no, we're not doing that. That's when she made the decision. She's like, you're not going to no Catholic Grammar School. But as far as communion, they had no problems if we wanted to take communion.
This
So
was
I
a this was a talking point about 20 something years ago. I remember this.
okay.
And maybe it's something that's on the books, but people were not practicing it. And
Mm-hmm.
so it came into question. And then one of the priests said, this is how it, or somebody said, this is how it's supposed to be done. But kudos to the new, well, he's not new, to the Pope who is there now. I can't think of his name. He is very encompassing, he's very inclusive.
He is.
And his ministry is more about love. That's what God is love. God is love.
Yes, he is.
And when you how can you what is the saying? How can you love God who you have never seen and not love your neighbor who you see all the time?
May not
You know?
like, and you don't have to like everybody. Let's
Right,
be clear, but you
right,
must love everybody as
right,
Jesus and
right.
God has loved us and has given us and grant us mercy each and
And
every day. When
grace,
we wake up in the morning, we step out in the house, when we do some crazy stuff, road rage, He still loves us.
grace,
Okay,
grace.
so let's just
So,
let's keep
I hope
that,
that the Catholic Church get over yourselves.
please.
Get over
Y'all
yourselves.
got enough
No,
problems. How about that?
right.
Let's
Y'all get
not let's not
more
go. Let's not really get candid. Y'all
right.
got
I
enough
mean,
problems and dealing
right.
with trying to deal with these doggone settlements. Now we not gonna
But
go
but
there.
but people need help at this time, especially. And the church
Exactly.
should be a place of
A
refuge,
refuge.
of peace, and not
Yes.
when you didn't say. I mean, how petty is that? That is, when I see that, then people wonder why ain't nobody coming to church.
That's the reason why.
So, thank you for. I've forgotten about that. It's
I
so much.
no, cause you every time whenever when I saw you post, I said, oh, and you let me know before we went on the air. I want to talk about this, so I would have been remiss if I did not remind you, my podcasting sister, because it's a great topic. Because as I said, I went to a Catholic grammar school, and it's interesting. Although unfortunately, Catholic grammar school has been um, discontinued, the church is still present near my neighborhood,
Right,
which is
right,
interesting.
right, right. Well, hopefully the Catholic, because we want, no matter what your religion is, as long as it's on the up and up and ain't no crazy David Koresh, Jim Jones kind of stuff.
Okay, yeah, that,
We give kudos to it. But just get it together, Catholic Church.
get it together. Well, we talk about Black History Month, and we were gonna, because this is would be our last broadcast in February. But I want to know. I know my podcasting sister knows this, but I don't know if our audience knows this. This is someone you really should know. Did you know that Crest toothpaste? And I know some of y'all use Crest. Folgers coffee. I know some of y'all drink that. Bounce fabric softener. Yes, I have some right now because I gotta do laundry soon.
Same
And
here.
Safeguard soap. That's for mostly the men, y'all. I don't use no Safeguard, but for the men. Did you know all of those aforementioned items were created by a black man? And Kim was looking like, really? Yes. His name was Dr. Herbert Smitherman. He was a pioneering executive and chemist at Procter and Gamble. And he led all African Americans at this prestigious company in the 60s. And he was the first black person with a doctorate to be hired at Procter and Gamble.
Wow.
And he was nicknamed the Jackie Robinson of Procter and Gamble. How about that? He spent
And what was his name
29,
again?
huh?
What was his name again?
Dr. Herbert Smitherman.
Okay. Okay.
He spent 29 years at the company, and he was a professor at Wilberforce University, which is one of the
Yeah.
HCBUs.
HBCU. Shout out to HBCUs.
Okay, and so he grew up in the South in Birmingham, Alabama. Shout out to BM because I have family members in Birmingham, and he knew about segregation, that period, but this man, I had no idea he existed. So it was someone I need to know. So
There's
now
so
the
many
next,
things.
which say,
Yeah,
babe?
there's so many things that
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And unfortunately, he passed away in 2010. But so the next time, all y'all brush your teeth with Crest, drink your coffee of Folgers, put that fabric softener in the dryer with Bounce. And for the men, because I don't know if they have Safeguard. So for women, but when you take a shower with Safeguard, you better give kudos to Dr. Herbert Smitherman because he created those products at P&G.
Well,
How
good
about
for
that?
him. Good.
Yes.
That's a great thing to know. Um, there is. Did we have anything else that we wanted to share?
Let's see. I'm trying to think what we
So, as I said before, while Kay Renee is looking for that, you know, during this time, all around the country, there are museums that have special events. There are different places that have special events during Black History Month. Take your kids, take your children, um, learn something new every day so that, we can keep these stories going and keep, learning about these things. I think that that would be awesome. This Wednesday is Ash Wednesday. We want to give special kudos to those that will be observing that holiday. This is the time it starts Lent. So I know the people down in Louisiana, one day I'm going to make it to Mardi Gras. One day I'm going to make it to Mardi Gras. One of our previous guests, who is Chef Daryl Johnson, who, by the way, Kay, is opening up a restaurant in Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
nice.
And he and his wife moved down there. They're going to have a big opening in May. But one of the great things when we were on Clubhouse, he told us about the neighborhood Mardi Gras
Oh,
and how
nice.
everybody's house they would cook different meals. And you hear music and jazz in the background, and people would come out with plates and their pots. And so you go to everybody's home and get a little bit of food from them, the crawfish, etouffee, the po' boys, of course, the
Mm-hmm.
gumbo, red beans, and rice. I know I
Mm-hmm.
gained about 20 pounds just
Okay.
I
Just
gained
talking
about
about
20
it.
pounds just talking about it. But he was just saying, we always see on TV the big Mardi Gras downtown and going
Mm-hmm.
through, was it Bill Street? Is it Bill Street or something like that?
No,
And
the French Quarter, because Beale Street is
French Quarter.
in Memphis.
Okay, I knew it was something. But I can't think of the name of that street. But anyway, you all know what street I'm talking about for those who
Mm-hmm.
have visited New Orleans. So we always talk about that big celebration. But it sounds as if the big party is really in the neighborhoods,
Mm-hmm.
with the folk, with the common people, just
Mm-hmm.
everyday people. So one day I'm gonna have to make it down there. I'm gonna just say, let me
You
lose this weight
we may have to
first.
do that together and do a show
Okay.
on that Saturday, before
Yeah.
Mardi Gras, right? But
Yeah.
no, I
Yeah.
wanted
Yeah.
to piggyback what you're saying about Ash Wednesday and Lent. Lent is an acronym. So let's think about what Lent stands for. Let's eliminate negative thinking. So as you celebrate Lent and what you want to give up, but
Mm,
let's eliminate negative thinking because that what you think about, what happens, you bring about. So,
yeah. A lot of people really that would be another show to do about fasting.
mm-hmm,
Because a lot of people, say what they're fasting from and make it known. It's really a private decision between you and God.
absolutely.
And I could in fact, I am going to do a whole show on fasting. Probably should have done it this week. Maybe I'll do a Kim live on it because I was guided in it. And I think a lot of people are misguided about fasting and what to do. And they get hungry. And some of the things you do during fasting. I had a girlfriend that we were fasting as a church. We were fasting between Ash Wednesday and Easter.
Mm-hmm,
And from sun up to sundown, we only drank water and stuff like that.
mm-hmm.
And she was watching TV. And when you watch TV and you fast, all these food
Oh,
commercials.
that always happens, doesn't it?
So, but I was taught in a class, to not do those things, to read your Bible, meditation, praying. So anyway, I know I got off a tangent on that, but I know a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people will be fasting over the next few weeks. So we just want to send prayers and thoughts to you at this time. Um,
Absolutely.
I think we're almost at the end of the show. As Kay said, before we get candid,
Yes.
I will be turning the double nickel
Double nickel, double grace.
Thursday.
Double grace,
Thursday.
honey.
So, as Kay knows, my father turns 80 on March 7th. And he's just bypassed my birthday. He's calling me all the time, telling me what he wants. He switches what he wants and all of this. So we're on the phone the other day. And he says, I turned 80. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And my father's in his right mind. He's just my father. I'm probably a smaller version of him. And so he said, I said, yes, that's why I'm coming home to celebrate. He was like, yeah. And I said, well, I'm turning 55 next week. And he goes, I have a child that old? I said, goodbye, old man. I don't have time for this. But I just want, as I stated before, and the reason why I do this is because I know what it feels like to be down. I know what it feels like to feel like you've been put out to pasture. I know what it means, as the lady says, and why did I get married too, that God has forgotten my address. But I'm just here to tell people I'm just getting started. Uh, I'm just getting started. And I only am here by God's grace, and I give him all the praise and my parents, but and my family. But I give God all the praise for making me reach 55. I should be dead. I should be gone. But he has given me grace and mercy. And so I said to God when I was going through a really tough period, I learned this from Steve Harvey, is that when I got out of whatever I got, I was going to tell everybody I know about this man called Jesus who saved my life many times. So I will never shut up about it. You can't make me doubt him. I know too much about him. So
Amen.
happy birthday to me. And it's going to be a
Well,
nice celebration.
you're going to definitely hear me serenade you on Thursday, as I normally do, because you know I am a birthday girl.
Yes,
So I am
yes,
just
yes.
really, again, how we met is serendipitous. So, and it's funny that we share the same milestone this year, because mine come a little bit
Yep.
later. But y'all know, for those who know me, when I party for my birthday, I party right. So but no, a happy early birthday as you
Thank
celebrate. I
you.
mean, you're blessed. You got February. You had the whole month, not only with Black History Month, and I would be remiss too. Today is National Vet Girls Day. So if you're a female who is a veteran, we honor you.
Honor
We
you
honor
today.
you.
Yes, I am.
Um, and then before, speaking of, it's funny. This phone was ringing. Before I
I
do
was
my
wondering what
nugget,
it
I'm
was.
gonna really get candid because I had an interesting thing this past week with my refrigerator, and
Okay.
that's who was calling
Okay. Okay.
regarding my refrigerator. Now, I know with COVID, people just get COVID brain, but let me be real clear. I ordered a refrigerator last week, supposed to arrive, was supposed to be arrive, be installed Tuesday evening. And then when these delivery people get here, they're gonna tell me, one of them, "Well, I can't do this because I don't. Where's your water line?" I'm like, "God, doctor, you should know this, right?" So after I had to
Oh,
use some colorful language, and I do mean colorful language with the manager at Lowe's, they had to reschedule my appointment, which is today. So hopefully we will get this right. I'll
you'll get
keep
that
y'all
back.
posted the next time we come online. But again, we just really want to say thank you for being a part of our broadcast. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Candid Conversations with K and K. Please subscribe to our Facebook page. If you have any topics that you want to hear that we can get candid with, don't hesitate to send us an email, candid conversations with K and K at gmail.com. We really want to, this is our second year now. We want to bring you topics that are just inspiring, motivational, but we're going to keep it real and topics that need to be discussed. So we truly love all of you. We
And
thank
hold,
all
hold
of
on.
you for your time. Go ahead, sweetie.
Hold on 1 second. You reminded me. I know all around the country that there are COVID restrictions that are being taken down. I get that. I know that. Everybody has to make their own decisions for themselves. But let me tell you about Kimberly Ann Coleman. I will be wearing my mask as our grandpoobah says until Juvember. I'm wearing my mask. I have to fly in a couple days, in a few days. I'm wearing my mask. I'm wearing my mask all around Arizona. When I come to Chicago in April, I'm wearing my mask
That's right.
because there's still a certain amount of number of people around here that have not been vaccinated.
That's
And
right.
there is another variant that is going around, by the way.
Same,
So do what you want to do, but as for me and mine, I'm wearing my mask.
same
I'm
here.
using my hand
Same.
sanitizer.
And practice physical distancing. So before we get off the air, I've got to do this nugget. And this nugget comes from our first African American principal ballet dancer, Miss
Oh,
Misty
Misty Copeland.
Copeland. And she says this, and it kind of relates to what you talked about earlier. You can start late, look different, be uncertain, and still succeed. Hashtag true success has no deadline.
Yes, yes. Ladies and gentlemen, you can catch Karen's Nuggets of Knowledge. That is her website. She gives great nuggets every day that kind of help you through the day, navigate your day, or even in the evening on you as you're meditating on them. And you can catch her there and on her Facebook page as well. We're going to be gone for the next 2 weeks. We have some business to take care of. I'm going out of town to celebrate Dad's birthday. But we will be back the second Saturday in March. We have a great show coming up, you all, about critical race theory. And we
Yes.
really want you all to look at that because we really want to break it down to make it plain and simple and understand exactly what is going on in our country. I'm Kim Coleman of Sister Girl Speaks. Next time you see me, I will be a year older and looking just as fabulous. That's my
Yes.
girl Kay Renee of Karen's Nuggets, who keeps me on point constantly. We love you all. We love you with the love of Jesus. Keep praying, praying, keep praying, praising, and pushing. And we love you. Bye.
Bye, guys. Stay safe.